Hey Internet, Eric here. If you watched my last video, my wife and I discussed Halloween Resurrection, and we finally finished the original, it's been skewed so many times, timeline of the Halloween series before the remake came out and its sequel. So today, I'm talking Halloween, Rob Zombie's version from 2007. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I do discuss plot spoilers and specific scenes, so if you have not seen it, please watch at your own risk. Basic plot of this movie, it's Halloween. But we actually delve into the backstory of Michael. We follow him as a youngster in his family. We find out, or we attempt to find out why he killed his sister on Halloween, why he was locked up in Smith Grove. We follow him in Smith Grove with Dr. Loomis, played by Malcolm McDowell, and then eventually the breakout happens. Michael seeks out Laurie Strode, kills her friends, and the final confrontation between him and her happen. So, a lot of people fucking hate this one. And I think it's because a lot of people are so hung up on Michael doesn't need a reason to kill. Michael's just evil incarnate, blah, blah, blah. I actually enjoy having a backstory. I don't really care that he doesn't have, a reason to kill. I like finding out that Michael came from this tragic home. His mother's a stripper trying to make ends meet. His mother's the only one that cares for him because she's now got Michael's father is dead. She is now hooked up with this complete psychotic asshole named Ronnie, played by William Forsythe. His sister Judith, that he does end up killing, is this mean, disgusting, not mean, disgusting person, but she's a bully to Michael. She's very vulgar. She's a whore. Michael's teased at school by many people because his mom's a stripper and because his sister's a whore. So it's Rob's attempt to making him somewhat of a tragic figure. I like how we see with Michael the beginnings of a serial killer, the torturing of animals, and taking pictures of them and carrying, the dead cat in his fucking backpack. So I like that. It's Rob's attempt of giving a little realism into a series that just went way off the rails. And it's funny that a lot of people were pissed that Michael had a backstory or a reason to kill, but some of those people who hate this didn't mind the whole druid thing and the Curse of the Thorn. So that I don't understand. But I like how we're getting a backstory. It's fine. It gives something new to the character. It's not the same old, because this is the ninth film? The ninth film in the series, and it's been done to death. But anyways, I like that. Dag Fark, however you pronounce his name, as Michael, hit and miss. I like his interaction with Sherry Moon Zombie as his mom. You can tell Michael only cares about his mother and young sister, baby sister Angel, we calls Boo. That's the only people that matter to him in the world because of Ronnie being an asshole and threatening him with abuse. Judith being the mean older sister. Sometimes his performances is over the top, like when he's trying to be tough and he yells "fuck you" at the principal, or when he's just trying to ignore Judith banging on the bathroom door as she's telling him to quit jerking off, even though he's really washing the blood off a scalpel because he killed one of his rats, and he's just yelling at her to pretend like he's not hearing her. That's kind of grating, but I do like his rapport with Sherry Moon Zombie. And he's got an evil looking fucking face. Where is he? Yeah, right there. He does have an evil looking face. I like that. Malcolm McDowell as Dr. Loomis. I love him too because we see him in the 70s, as he's brought in because of Michael's troubles at school. They find the cat in the bag and the pictures, and Dr. Loomis talks to Sherry Moon Zombie, who I think is hit and miss in this as well, but I like the scene where he's trying to convince her that Michael might have a serious psychological problem, and she's the mom that doesn't want to hear nothing's wrong with my baby. That type of situation. I like how when Michael kills everybody and he's put into the sanitarium, Dr. Loomis really wants to take care of Michael. You see how he wants to be this father figure, be this friend to Michael, all the while trying to figure out what the fuck is wrong with him. And then eventually, when Michael becomes an adult, Loomis can't take anymore. I like how there's a one scene. I like how motorcycles driving by. I like how there's that one scene where we're seeing just adult Michael, you know, in the camera shot, and he's gone to making masks to hide his identity or to stay out of reality, whatever. And it's just a scene where Donald, I'm thinking Donald Pleasance, Dr. Loomis is telling Michael, there's no more I can do. You know, I've dedicated my life and we're going nowhere type of thing, so I'm no longer your doctor. And then eventually when Michael breaks out, we find out that Dr. Loomis had a book deal, but he still, when he knows Michael is out, he knows Michael is this menace, this evil, you know, character, and he does what he can to pursue him and try to save Jamie Lloyd. So I love Malcolm McDowell. Tyler Mane as Michael is so scary. He's super imposing because Tyler Mane is so fucking huge. His kills are brutal. You believe them because of his size. Like when he kills Mean Joe Grizzly in the truck stop restroom, and Mean Joe, who was played by Ken Foree, pulls a knife out on him, and Michael stops him, and he's bashing Mean Joe against like the stall, and the stall is just crumpling under him, and then, you know, he stabs him. He's so intimidating because of his size, and he's just so imposing and so scary. Especially when he gets in the suit, you know, the jumpsuit which he steals from Big Mean Joe and or Big Joe, I don't fucking know what his name is, but in the mask, and you know, it's really scary. But I also like when he's in the sanitarium. He's scary when he's just in like a bathrobe and fucking sandals. You know you don't want to fuck with this guy. So, and then Sherry Moon Zombie, she's okay. When she's with, like I said, when she's with Michael, I believe her caring. She tries a little bit too hard when she's arguing with like William Forsythe. In that horrible beginning, that horrible opening breakfast scene where he's trying to be the most disgusting creature in the world. And he's doing it, but it's just so chaotic and so loud. It was kind of like the dinner scene in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where it was just like yelling for yelling's sake. So she's very hit and miss, but she's not horrible. Like a lot of people hate on Sherry. She's not horrible in this. It's 50-50. And then we'll cut to present day with the three girls. You know, Laurie, Linda, and Annie. Not a fan. I'm not a fan. I don't like Scout Taylor Compton as Laurie Strode at all. She in the scenes where she's trying to be funny, she's not funny at all. When she's trying to be emotional, I think she falls flat. You know, you feel sympathy for her because, you know, you've seen her parents get killed, and you've seen her friends get killed, and she's running away from this scary, imposing figure, but I just really don't care. Danielle Harris is back. It's cool to see Danielle Harris back in the series after she was Jamie Lloyd in 4 and 5. She comes off as just an annoying bitch, trying to act too tough, trying to act too sexual with her boyfriend. Don't like it. That's it. There's nothing to her. She's there. I mean, it's a 2-hour movie. Like, first hour is like in Smith's Grove, in, you know, Michael's home. Second hour, we're in Haddonfield, and the stalking has happened. I don't give a shit about Annie. Like, especially the scene where Michael's stalking the three girls, and they see him, and they're trying to talk shit to Michael. She's trying to sound tough, and her acting just comes off really crappy. Christina Klebe, I think, who plays Linda, super hot, full frontal nudity. She's there just to be, you know, the skank, like Linda kind of was in the original. Her acting is better than Scout and Danielle Harris, but it's nothing to write home to, I guess is the cliche. She's still kind of unlikable. You don't really care that she dies. She does do the "see anything you like" line, which we really do, but you don't really care when Michael strangles her. And then there's other characters that pop up, which is like with Rob Zombie movies. Oh, this person's in it. Let's throw this person. Like Mickey Dolenz is the one selling guns to Dr. Loomis. Who else is in this? Like just random things. Clint Howard and Udo Kier are in charge of Smith's Grove. So you got random cameos. But one I do enjoy is Brad Dourif as Sheriff Brackett. He doesn't have much to do, but it's Brad Dourif, and you just like him because he's Brad Dourif. So, and then we'll talk about the people in the sanitarium. Danny Trejo as the guy who is taking care of Michael. He's the one who's been taking care of him. He's the janitor because he's Mexican. But he's the one, who calls him Mikey. They develop a friendship going on. And I like that because it shows how Michael doesn't care. So when Michael breaks out of Smith Grove, he still kills Danny Trejo no matter... And even Danny says that, "I was good to you, Mikey." That switch has been flipped. Michael shows no compassion. He's a silent, emotionless, no sympathetic killing machine. And when he kills Danny, you do feel sympathy. You're like, I liked Ishmael. That's his name. I did not want him to die. There's some... What else? So it's really hit and miss. One scene I really hate though, and I think it's just because Rob wants to be gratuitous. Now, in this review, I am talking about the unrated director's cut. Okay, not the theatrical. If you want to know the differences between the theatrical and the unrated director's cut, go ahead and Google it. But in the director's cut, Michael breaks out of the sanitarium because Lou Temple and Courtney Gaines, they convince a female patient to come out of her room. They take her to Michael's room and they horrifically rape her while Michael's just making his paper mache masks. Michael doesn't give a shit until one of the two grabs one of Michael's masks, puts him on, mocks Michael because Lou Temple's an asshole the first time he meets Michael because Ishmael's retiring, Danny Trejo, and Lou Temple's, being trained. So he's already talking shit to Michael, calling him retard and faggot and said he's going to fuck him up. The usual stuff. And they're raping this girl, and then Michael kills them. I don't know if he kills the girl, but I think that scene is just thrown in there because Rob wants you to feel uncomfortable. I didn't like it. I'm not a big fan of rape scenes at all in general. I did not want to go to a Halloween movie knowing I was going to watch two guys gang rape a mental patient. So, dislike that a lot. This movie for me is hard to actually give an in-depth review because think of it like this. It's like Full Metal Jacket for me. I love the first half when they're in boot camp, and once they get to Vietnam, Halloween. I love when Michael's at home and he's in the sanitarium, but once he breaks out, it loses its steam. It becomes a remake pretty much basic remake of the first one. And if I want to see a remake, I want something to be different. There was not a lot different once he got to Haddonfield. Bob is impaled on the wall, which fan service, that's fine. I didn't like the characters. Yeah, this one's hard to review because I don't have a definitive. Do I really like this film? It's okay. I love the first half. I love the backstory of Michael. And one of my favorite scenes is in the sanitarium. It's Christmas time, I think. They're having dinner. Michael, his mom, and Loomis. And she's leaving. He's going to walk her to her car. The nurse comes in to watch him. She says something mean to Michael, and he takes his fork and he sticks it in her throat. And what I love about this scene is it's not just because it's Michael killing somebody. It's Rob being creative. Eventually, he takes out all the screaming, all the sound, except the warning sirens that are blaring through the sanitarium. You see Loomis yelling, "Michael, stop it. What are you doing?" You see Laurie. Mrs. Loomis, I'll just call her, on the ground screaming, wondering, what are you doing, Michael? And all you hear is this the siren. And I like how Michael's just standing there in a perfect shot of him just standing there looking at his work, holding the fork, and he's got his hair in front of him. He's got his mask on, and he's not in touch with what he's done. And then when, I don't know if it's Loomis or his mother that takes his mask off, that's when he just loses it. He goes batshit crazy. He's screaming and yelling and trying to get to them. So I like how his mask, I mean, I love that scene, but it's also, once again, shows you how his mask is how he clicks himself off. He takes himself out of what has happened, what's going on. It's great. So, in the end, I've babbled on long enough. But in the end, Halloween, Rob Zombie's version for 2007. And that's sad because that's what I've said for like part 6, H2O and Resurrection. It's just It would be a lot higher if I liked the characters more in the Haddonfield stuff, but no, I don't give a shit about any of them. Don't give a shit about Laurie. Annie annoyed me, and Linda looked hot, but I didn't like her. So, in the end, I'm just going to say, if you want to watch the series, all of them, you don't need to avoid Halloween by Rob Zombie. He does not trash the series like a lot of people think, but he doesn't really make a perfect flowing movie. It's like foreplay. The foreplay is great, but once the act finally happens, it's just, and the girlfriend gets sent home disappointed. So, in the end, it's worth a watch just for the sanitarium stuff. So I like, his use of music. I like, there's a new take on the Halloween theme. There's the classic Halloween theme. I like the soundtrack, a lot of 70s stuff. I like the use of Love Hurts when we see Michael sad and pissed off. Oh, shit. I almost forgot about the kills. Brutal. I like, Rob Zombie is brutal in this with Michael's kills. I like William Forsythe gets a really bloody neck slit. Judas' boyfriend after they're done fucking, and I like how it's Judas' boyfriend who does bring the Michael Myers mask out initially, and that's how we see where he gets it. But her boyfriend, brutal death with a aluminum baseball bat in the kitchen. And just that shot of, you just hear the bat clink on the floor, and you see it covered in blood. I love that. Judas' kill is brutal. So really good. I love that. And then there's the brutality. Michael does get his revenge on the kid that's picking on him at school. So I've rambled enough. First half is great. Second half is in the toilet. So it's decent, I guess. Full Metal Jacket. Alright, so that's it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Click the bell. Don't. Everybody says this. I've been saying it for years. Check out the playlist. Watch of my Halloween movies. Watch the other ones. My thoughts on them. Cheers. And I hope she likes Cripples. Yeah, it's a dumb song, but whatever.